Hello YouTube, it's Accurate again, back with a new video from the home studio. In this one I'm gonna check out Serato Studio, a software that I haven't used at all before, so I'm a little bit nervous. I don't know how this is gonna turn out, but let's just hope for the best.
Accurate Beats.
By the way, this video right here is sponsored by Serato. They contacted me and asked me to make a video on it, and of course I'm gonna do that because it's aimed towards beatmakers. I am a big fan of Serato Sample, and Serato Studio seems to be a nice piece of software. So I have been using the Serato Sample software quite a lot. I made a few videos on it on this YouTube channel as well, and I think it's a really good software for chopping up samples and pitch shifting and time stretching and all of that stuff. But again, I don't really know what I'm talking about yet. I have opened up the software, I saw the interface, and I hit the first key on the keyboard, and I heard this kick drum sample. And then I thought to myself, why not just close it down, turn on the camera, and try to show my first impressions and use it for the first time on video. So let's just move over to the computer and give it a try. And let's open up Serato Studio, just like that. And this is what it looks like. So let's check it out from the top. Here's the BPM. I don't want that to be 120, so let's put it to 92. Let's ignore this, the key is in C minor for now. I have a bunch of different windows here. So I can turn my effect view on and exit the mixer and stuff like that. That's the metronome, that's the quantization. This reads 1, 2, 3, 4, which corresponds to... Okay, simple enough. So this seems to be my Serato DJ library and it's empty. Drums, oh, here's a lot of content. Drum kits and one-shots. So let's start with a kit. Nuclear modular. Guess I should be able to preview that somehow, but I don't know. To say that I want to change the volume of the hi-hat, can I do that? I have easy access to the attack and the release and I can reverse it, but I just have to be able to change the volume somehow. I had a mixer before. Okay, that's actually how it works. So the mixer part here is individual per track, and this seems to be the master over here. I want to take down the volume of the open hi-hat as well. Simple enough so far, but let's see if we can take another kit. So it looks like a few of them comes from Gold Baby, a few of them from Go Nuclear and Decap, and that's good to know. Let's check out the one-shots instead. But I can't really find a good way to preview the samples just when I click them here. So maybe I just have to load them into... Alright. So let's put a kick on the first. Maybe not that one. So I like that. Let's change the snare. That one sounds alright. Now I can also do things like adjusting the tempo here or changing the pitch. But if I want to record something on the sequencer, I guess it's over here. So I can program it like this, I guess. Can I make it longer? Okay, it got duplicated. And then I have the option to make changes here. Okay, that's nice and simple. But let's just keep it at 1 bar for now, just to make sure that we have something going. Now let's go to the audio samples here and see what's up with those. So, drop instrument here. That's what I'm gonna do. So now if I have something else like this, I can play it like... Okay. And I can also sequence it over here. So let's go for an F. So that's not how I want to do things, but it's nice to have the option. But let's see what happens if I load up one of the audio samples. Okay, that one just plays. If I do something else like... And in this case you can load up the loop thing and it ends up looking pretty much exactly as it does inside of Serato Sample. Already chopped up and ready to go, so that's cool. Now, what happens if I pull something in from my computer? This one. I can just drop it there and it becomes a crate. And there's my sample, so let's load it up into that slot. And it looks like it's chopped up from the get-go. Okay, so that might come in handy, but let's see if I can just find samples. And yeah, I got new ones right here. Yeah, I could work with that. And I wonder if this one... Yeah, that one makes it play chromatically over the keys. Which also should mean that I can use an actual keyboard. And I can, even though it sounds a bit strange on this particular sample. So let's switch it back to the other mode and... it works just as the computer keyboard. So that's good to know. Electric piano again, that's nice. And over here, the drums. Okay. Now, even though this video is going to be heavily edited to make it seem shorter and easier than it actually is, to be honest, I've been at it for 22 minutes by now. And even though I really haven't tried to record anything manually on the sequencer yet, I think I kind of understand most of this. So let's try to do that and record my drums. Okay, and yeah, just like that, I've recorded 1 bar of drums, and it's not quantized because it wasn't supposed to be. So now I should be able to just go into my other track here. And let's try to record something on top of that, but let's keep that one double the length, so 2 bars. And now I want to change the pitch of the entire sample. So can I do that? Take that one and pitch it. I'm not pitching that, so... Can I just choose all of them? By holding a shift, yeah, simple enough. And pitch everything up like 6 semitones. Okay. So, like that, let's try to record it. Is that 4? Okay, so that becomes 4 bars like that, but I have to switch from these 2 to those 2. Or can I do that? So now I have my 4-bar loop visible here. I have my sample, my browser, and my chops. So now maybe I want to fill in the silence between this note and that note right here. It's a bit too choppy for my taste, so let's see if we can increase the release a little bit. That's good. Yeah, it follows along nicely. Now let's turn off the metronome here because I don't need that anymore. And this is a really nice feature. Here is some type of representation of the actual waveform that gets created by the chops that I'm playing on top of the drums. So I can see it right here. That's a really nice feature to have that over there. The same thing with the drums. I didn't notice that, but that's cool to actually see the drum loop that I created in here. Okay, so maybe it's not the best sample in the world, but still, this was really, really quickly done. In this amount of time, I have something. I have drums and a chopped up sample and it plays together. So if I only know this sequencer a little bit better, I would try to copy this one over and create a new instance of the same sample and then pitch that 1 octave up to create layers like that. But I don't know if that's possible. Let's try to just drag it. Here's duplicate deck. So the sample seems to be following along and the sequence, the pattern as well. So that's exactly what I was looking for. Let's take all of them and pitch it 12 plus 4, so that's 16 semitones. Okay, just like that. But now I want to lower the volume of this track. Oh, okay, this is not the master as I thought it was. This is for the specific track that I'm working on. And this is for the specific instrument or chop. Okay. Maybe I should put some filter on it as well. But no, let's forget about the filter and just EQ some of the lows out of there. Alright, so we have some simple drums and we have the chopped up sample, duplicated in different octaves, and I'm able to change everything just as I am in the Serato sample software, but this is a bit more fully fledged. Now, just to be honest with everything here, I'm taking a break and I'm getting back to this in like an hour or whatever. So this is where we left off. So the next step here would be to start to identify the root note of the actual sample. Let's click here, add instrument, and go for, okay, here we have different categories and stuff, so let's go for piano and acoustic piano, simple enough. Okay, so now we're in this weird play in key mode that's right here in the software. And this one corresponds to the actual settings of the project, in this case C minor, but I want all of the keys in order to find the root note here. So let's deselect that one and we have this normal chromatic keyboard. Let's lower the volume a bit. So there are some of the keys that I feel is working together with the sample. Now let's try that on another type of instrument, and that will be a bass. No? Well... so that's good enough. Okay, we have this super simple bass line down and that's good for now. Let's jump back to the piano again. So that minor chord, let's just add it somewhere in the track. And on this one, I think I want to add some kind of effect to make it sound a little bit less dry. So here's a reverb, just a normal echo. Well, yeah, that could actually work. And like that, we just have the basic chords playing on the beat. So, okay, I think it's about time to start looking at this little section down here that seems to be some kind of arranger mode. So, if we click here, I can go to copy. What happens if I change something? Say, for instance, that I'm deleting a lot of the drums on the intro part. Like that. But those changes doesn't follow on the secondary part here. So that's good to know. It doesn't create this duplicate version that is connected to the first one, but instead it's a new unique part. So on the intro here, maybe I want the bass line to just be silent. So I can hit clear. And now we can see that we don't have any bass and we don't have any drums until we come over here on the track. And then if I go to part one after the intro, the bass get introduced and all the drums are there and everything. And back to the intro again, I saw this little robot head up here and I guess that's the automation setting somehow. So let's just click that and go to one of the tracks, maybe the high-pitched sample here, because it feels like it's a little bit much to have it on the intro like this, so maybe I want to go for some kind of fade in here. And while we're at it, let's go to that first sample here and add an effect on the entire thing. Down here, I don't know, maybe the flex flanger. Whoa, that's a bit too much. Maybe we'll want to go with a phaser instead. And right now I really can't find the more advanced settings for this phaser, it's just this knob up and down. But that's kind of handy sometimes, I guess. Now I'm not sure I want to do this on my first part, but let's just give it a try to go to part one here and add a plugin. I have a plugin option down here. So let's go there, and yeah, here are all of my different plugin effects and instruments. So maybe something like an organ, like the Arturia one. So here we are with that interface inside of Serato Studio. That's really cool, and it works too. Good to know. Yeah, now we're back to this weird setting, play in key again. Let's turn it off and see. So yeah, let's record something like that. Just turn on the metronome and go for record. Now, I don't know how good that fits in here, but let's keep it anyways and just turn down the volume and maybe kind of drown it in some type of reverb. And just take all of the sample stuff out of there in the sequencer, because I feel like the sample is kind of okay, but it's a little bit much sometimes. So let's try to do something more rhythmical with it. So let's try to hear this first part 2 and then part 3 straight after that. Alright, so that's my first beat ever made in the Serato Studio software. Now, please keep in mind that I'm totally new to the software and I didn't really know what I was doing, so the video became a little bit long, but maybe that's also kind of a good thing to some of you. And I just finished editing the video until this point and I realized that I got a few things wrong, so let me just correct that real quick. First of all, there's a really nice and simple way to be able to turn on previewing for all of your samples and sounds that you're browsing for in the browser. And that is done by just hitting this little speaker button right here. I can't believe that I missed this. Just click the little icon and then you have preview on for any type of sample or sound that you're clicking on in the browser. Simple as that. And secondly, Serato Studio has a song mode. It's down in the right corner and I just didn't know it was there. So the thing I refer to as the arranger mode is just the place where you actually create your different parts of the track. And then you take those parts and drag it down to the song mode to be able to arrange a full track like that. So I guess I was a little bit right, but still a lot of wrong at the same time. And since I'm kind of comfortable using a lot of different DAWs and groove boxes and samplers and sequencers and stuff like that, it felt comfortable for me to turn off the play in key function that Serato Studio has. But now I'm realizing that it's kind of also really helpful for people who doesn't know a lot of music theory or doesn't feel comfortable playing the keyboard. Because when you turn that on and you lock the whole program into a certain type of root note and a certain type of scale, anything you import into it, even if it's a sample or a VST or a plugin or one of the built-in instruments, everything gets scaled to the same scale, so it's supposed to fit together with itself. Now, I really need to work more with that stuff because sometimes even I struggle matching one sample to another sample because it's not in the right key and stuff. And with that type of function turned on, maybe I can squeeze two different samples together more easily. Who knows? I just felt the need to explain that. Now again, this video is sponsored by Serato, so I am encouraging you to check out the links in the description below and visit the Serato Studio site to be able to read more about it and watch more videos and hear what people think about it. And why not maybe just try it out for yourself. So far I've only used it for making this video and a little bit after that, but before I made this outro. But since it runs as a standalone software in your computer, it's a really nice thing to have. Maybe you're a DJ who wants to get into music production and still feel kind of comfortable and use all of your stuff that you already have in your Serato library. Or maybe you're a beginner who just wants something nice and simple to work with without having to care much about external plugins or advanced DAWs with different kind of windows inside of a DAW and stuff. I honestly really feel like the Serato Studio software could be really good for people like that. And of course, even for people like me, if I'm traveling with only my laptop available to me, I'm still able to make sample-based beats. With all of the normal stuff that I normally do. I can chop up a sample, I can add drums to it, I can add my different VST or plugin instruments, I can arrange the track and make a few different variations of it, and just be done with it. Well, I know this video is really long by now, but I hope you learned something from it, and well, don't be afraid to check out Serato Studio if you're up for it. So, thanks a lot for watching this video, and I hope to see you guys in the next one, but until then, ha det gott!